I was sitting across from my Tinder date when he casually pulled a legal document out of his pocket. It was a restraining order that his ex had taken out against him. Here is how my casual coffee date turned into a true crime documentary. Hi, I'm Holly, and we really need to talk about Keith. I have been talking to this bloke, Keith, that I met on Tinder for a few weeks. When I asked if he wanted to go for coffee, he got a bit hesitant. He made excuses, saying he felt he needed to know me a little better first. I thought it was actually kind of sweet, so I said, of course, there's no rush. We exchanged numbers, texted most evenings, and even survived a couple of video calls. Finally, after a few weeks, he looks at me through the screen and goes, I feel ready for that coffee, if that's okay? I said yes, that would be great, and we arranged to meet on Wednesday at a nice little coffee shop. Fast forward to Wednesday. I drove to the cafe, and as I walked out of the car park, I saw Keith walking towards the entrance. He looked exactly like his pictures. He smiled at me, and we walked in together to grab a nice little table by the window. We ordered our drinks, the banter was good, and the conversation was flowing. I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is going really well. But suddenly, he lets out this massive, dramatic sigh and says, I feel I owe you an explanation. Before I could even blink, he launches into this heavy monologue about how he was terrified to meet me, about meeting anyone really, because his psychotic ex is relentlessly stalking him. He said, she's stalking me. She just won't stop. I was trying to be sympathetic, so I said, oh my God, that's terrible. Have you spoken to the police? He leaned all the way across the table, lowered his voice, and whispered, no, she controls the police. I just stared at him and said, well, I'm sure that's not true. And that is when he reached into his jacket and pulled out a restraining order. A restraining order that his ex had taken out to prevent him from contacting her. I looked at the paperwork, looked back at him, and said, if she is the one stalking you, why does she have a restraining order against you? He completely ignored the question. He just kept going on and on about this ex, saying she ruined his life and stopped him from seeing her dog. I tried to change the subject 3 different times, but no matter what I said, it went straight back to the ex. Then, he looked me dead in the eye and blurted out that he had given her 2 months of his life. I thought I misheard him, but no, he repeated it. He practically shouted, yes, 2 whole months, and she destroyed me. I was sitting there thinking, 2 months? The way he was talking, I thought he was going to say they were married for a decade. I'm sitting there feeling like we have been talking about her longer than their relationship lasted. I tried to wrap it up one last time. I said, so anyway, sounds like you dodged a bullet. I was obviously thinking the exact opposite, and I clearly didn't hide my sarcasm very well, because he just glared at me and snapped, I don't appreciate the sarcasm. So, I stood up. I looked at him and said, well, I'm going to leave. I was going to say it's been great, but seeing as you don't like sarcasm, I'll just tell you the truth. It's been shit. I feel really sorry for your ex. I would say pass on my sympathy, but you can't without getting arrested. I am now sat at home. I blocked him on absolutely everything, and I completely deleted my Tinder account. If your date brings official court documents to a coffee shop, do not wait around to hear the backstory.
Run.
Drop a police car emoji in the comments if you've ever had a date trauma dump on you, and hit subscribe to join the Blocklist Survival Chronicles.